The cafeteria echoed with cruel laughter. Not the kind that warms your heart, but the kind that stabs it. Two little girls sat quietly at the back, hands clasped so tightly their knuckles turned white. They were twins, small, fragile, and dressed in faded clothes that hung loosely on their thin frames. Their hair was tied with worn-out ribbons, their shoes barely holding together. That day, the bullies had a plan. They wanted to humiliate the girls in front of the whole school by forcing them onto the stage. What they didn't know, what nobody in that cafeteria expected, was that these two girls were carrying something inside them so powerful, it would silence every voice in the room. Behind their courage stood one man, their father. A man who had lost everything but still gave his daughters the one thing that mattered most, belief. This is the story of love, of struggle, of two little girls who were laughed at, but when they opened their mouths to sing, they left the world in awe. The weight of loss. Daniel was only 24 when tragedy struck. His wife, Emily, died during childbirth, leaving him with two newborn daughters. He remembered the day vividly, the sterile smell of the hospital, the sharp cry of the twins filling the room, and the deafening silence that followed when the doctors whispered, "We couldn't save her." Most men would have crumbled. Some would have walked away. But Daniel made a promise as he held his daughters in his trembling arms. "You'll never be alone. I'll fight for you both, no matter what." But fighting wasn't easy. He was a single father with no savings, no steady career, and no one to lean on. Emily's family blamed him for her death and cut ties. His own relatives lived far away and offered little help. It was just him and two babies who depended on him for everything. Daniel worked construction during the day and cleaned offices at night. He carried the weight of exhaustion in his bones, yet every evening he would sing lullabies to his daughters, Lila and Grace. His voice wasn't perfect, but it was filled with love. Those lullabies became the soundtrack of their childhood, the safe place in a world that often seemed cruel. Growing up poor. The twins grew up in a tiny two-bedroom apartment with peeling paint on the walls and a heater that often broke down in winter. Their clothes came from donation bins. Their meals were simple, sometimes too simple when money ran out. But Daniel shielded them from despair with warmth and humor. "We're not poor," he would say with a smile. "We're just creative with what we have." And the twins would giggle as he turned cardboard boxes into castles, or sang silly songs while cooking noodles. Still, children notice things. At school, Lila and Grace saw the difference. Other kids carried shiny new backpacks, while theirs had fraying straps. Other kids bragged about vacations, while the twins had never left their small town. And the other kids noticed tea. It started small snickers when they answered questions in class, whispers about their old clothes. But it grew harsher with time. The charity twins. The ragged sisters. The poor girls. One day, during recess, Jason, the loudest bully in school, cornered them with his friends. "Do you guys even shower? You smell like your dumpster house." The other boys laughed. Grace's eyes filled with tears, but Lila, the braver one, pulled her sister away. The teachers saw but rarely interfered. "Kids will be kids," they said. But to the twins, those words cut like knives. Slowly, they grew quieter. They stopped raising their hands in class. They sat at the back of the cafeteria, eating in silence. At home, however, everything was different. There, they sang with their father. Songs filled their tiny apartment, soft harmonies, innocent giggles, voices so pure they carry through the thin walls. Singing was their secret world, their safe place. The talent showcase. When the school announced a talent showcase, the twins ignored it. They didn't dare sign up. They knew how it would end, with laughter, ridicule, shame. But Jason and his friends had other plans. They secretly put the twins' names on the sign-up sheet for singing. When the day of the showcase arrived, the twins had no idea what was coming. The cafeteria was packed. Kids performed dances, told jokes, even did magic tricks. Laughter and applause filled the air. Then the host read the next names. Next up. Lila and Grace, singing. The cafeteria erupted with chuckles. Jason slapped his knee, grinning. This is gonna be gold. The twins froze. Their hearts raced. Grace whispered, we can't do this. But Lila remembered their father's words from the night before. Don't ever be ashamed of your gift. When you sing, you carry your mother's voice inside you. That's something no one can take away. Hand in hand, they walked to the stage. The moment of truth. The microphone loomed above them. Their knees trembled. The room buzzed with cruel whispers. This is gonna be hilarious. But then, the music started. They opened their mouths. And everything changed. Two voices rose into the air, weaving together in perfect harmony. Their sound was pure, haunting, powerful, so beautiful it didn't seem possible from children so small. Every note carried their pain, their struggles, their father's endless love. The laughter stopped instantly. The cafeteria fell into stunned silence. Teachers froze, students stared wide-eyed, even the bullies were left speechless. By the time the last note faded, no one dared to move. Then came the applause, louder than anything the cafeteria had ever heard. Students jumped to their feet. Teachers clapped through tears. The twins stood there, stunned, faces flushed with pride. For the first time, they weren't the poor kids. They weren't the charity twins. They were stars. That performance changed everything. Word spread quickly. Parents talked about it, teachers praised it, even the principal called Daniel to say how extraordinary his daughters were. A local music teacher offered to train them for free. The community rallied to help Daniel, donating clothes, fixing their apartment, and raising funds for lessons. But challenges still came. The twins had to overcome stage fright, the scars of bullying, and the fear of failing again. Sometimes they wanted to quit. But Daniel wouldn't let them. The world needs to hear your voices, he reminded them. Not for fame, not for money, but because music heals. Rising stars. Years passed. The twins grew stronger, their voices richer, their harmonies more breathtaking. They began performing at community events, charity concerts, and eventually larger stages. Everywhere they went, people were left in awe. Finally, they got the chance of a lifetime, a spot on a national talent competition. The same bullies who once mocked them now watched from their living rooms as Lila and Grace took the stage in front of millions. Daniel sat in the front row, hands trembling, tears streaming. When the music began, the twins sang not just for themselves, but for him, for the man who never stopped believing. Their voices soared, filling the arena, reaching hearts across the nation. And when they finished, the audience leapt to their feet in thunderous applause. That night, the twins weren't just performers. They were proof that love and resilience can turn pain into beauty. Closing inspiration. Lila and Grace went on to win the competition. But when the host asked them who they wanted to thank, they didn't talk about fame or fortune. They turned to their father. For our dad, they said. The man who saved us, who believed in us, who gave us our voice. The crowd erupted with emotion. Daniel wept openly, his heart full. And so, the twins who were once laughed at became a symbol of hope. Their story reminded the world of one simple truth: kindness, belief, and love can change everything. Call to action, for YouTube. Speech balloon. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments below, what did you feel when the twins finally sang? Have you ever been laughed at but proved people wrong? Share your story. You never know who might be inspired by your words. Pushpin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs encouragement today. Join our community here on Be Kind Always, because together, through stories like this, we can spread hope, strength, and love to the world.